Hello and welcome to another video by me. I made this video. Yep. Today, as the title suggests, we'll be looking into names and flags for the countries in the Middle East of Adizzpro's What If Civilization Started Over series, and I believe that they are now on episode 21. Time flies. The purple team got vengeance in the last episode. So basically, we should go into it. Some notable countries that are in the Middle East. And some notable exceptions I did not include were the Lime team, because they're not fully located in the Middle East, and the Gold team, which only has a sliver in the Middle East, as well as this Egyptian country, who I have decided to do for Africa, because there are not very many African countries. Now, for the Middle East, there are about 9 countries in total, and different cultural aspects. Like, this entire region has its own, like the culture of, like, the Red team. So that's, like, one of the, like, the little cultural, like, aspects of it. Except, I believe, this one, which was by the Purple team. This was their Turkish areas, but it's probably also under Red influence at this point. So let's go over some flags and names. Alright, so we can start with the blue country, which was the first country. For these names, I used, since Mesopotamia was, like, basically what, like, the red country was, like kind of like a call to, also kind of the Ottomans. I decided, since Mesopotamian is a Greek thing, I decided to use Greek for the Middle Eastern countries' names. And so for the blue team, which is Arhites, that means beginning land, which is where everything started. And they have a scribe on them in Greek, which I believe says holy, because of the Holy City Rebellion that we saw somewhere, I believe, around episodes 16, 17. As well as being, the flag being blue and having a diamond shape there. Blue and white are colors that I think just go well together, so I decided to use that for their flag. Now if we go to the next country, which is the red team, which I named Ephrovesi. So Ephrovesi means fertile place. So basically fertile land in like the Mesopotamian areas between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. They use this emblem of a sun, which I use to identify, like, the red team culture. And their flag, they use red, which is their color, as well as some yellows and whites and darker reds, which go well with the colors. The next nation is this nation that was split off from the red team, which have very similar. And yes, so this nation was split out of the red team, and they are very, very similar culturally, and they are basically, you could say, kind of like the same kind of country. But they were just split up, so the red team would lose a lot of power after the war with, the lime team and the entire coalition. So basically what happens here is that they have, the orange card that they have, and their name is Deftrevon, which means secondary, because it's secondary to the red team. There's not any, like, goodish name for it, so I decided to go with secondary, which sounds pretty good, Deftrevon. They have the emblem of the red team, but instead of the yellow, it's in red, and they have a little split design. The next country is the one which is ruled by the legitimate heir, you could say. So these two, Adizzpro went over this, but there was a family tree that looked something like, and this is just paraphrasing, it looked something like this, which had a couple sons and a daughter, as well as this king having a family tree which had 2 sons. And now, these 2 are dead. But whenever the succession came, there was a democratic leader and a ruthless leader. And the democratic leader was killed by the ruthless leader, so he was dead. And so the ruthless leader got in control and, started conquering things, which made the world, go against them. He was killed in the battle, so he is dead. Now, the leader of the red team, the red team, or Ephrovesi, he is this one right here. So this is the illegitimate child with a different wife. his actual wife. So these are the illegitimate children. Basically, these two are the leaders of this country. But this country right here is ruled by the sister, who is the rightful heir. So this is why I named it Sister's Domain, which is Adelphi-Tomea. Adelphi-Tomea. Which uses the purple country, and also as well as a more simplified version without the extra the white things. It's not without the extra like white rays. It's just a simplified version showing its original roots, you could say. Okay, we're about to get into the original like blue team culture now. I remember when I said the rebellion of the holy cities. Well, the original like country, it came from here. So this is basically where some of the supporters. This is a region that declared independence. Whenever the blue team went to the Civil War. So basically, it's using the original symbol of the blue team, which I said was this, which is a moon with a bit of a like a poke there. And so basically they use that for their flag, and their name is the Cerulean Bank because they are on the they are on like the coast, and they are a nation that was part of the blue team. So their name is Kianos Trapiza. And yes, the next one is one that was, I don't know who it came off of. I believe it came off of a nation that came off of the red team. So there's a nation that was here that was around this color, more brownish, that disintegrated, and this was one of the nations that popped out from it. And the original nation is now gone. And so basically, since they were, influenced by the red team, but also some influence from like other things, they have the red team symbol, but a bit differently. They have a little swirl in the middle, as well as their actual color, as well as the color of the previous country. So this is the color of the previous country that they were in before this, which is this country. So if we look at the map, this country was spanning around this. It was spanning around this area on the map, and then they gained independence, and then they got that later from the blue team's collapse. While they were having civil war. So that's how that happened. So their name is Passageway, because they are right here on the the area where Djibouti is. So they are a passageway that you go through if you want to go through here and up to trade with these nations, and then come back down. Even though it's not as important because of the lack of a Suez Canal. So basically, what happens with this is that they're just called Diadromos. That's an easy name to pronounce. And yes, so that is those countries and the South Arabia, as well as this. So that's all of these countries. Okay, the next one that we're going to go to is the ones that are up here. Now these were descendants of like the red team, so they have the symbol, but instead of having the yellow symbol, they have the same red symbol as this nation because they were similar to them when they split off. Their name are the Mountain Guys because mountain people didn't create a good name, so they are the Vanopadia. That's their name. And so they have this. The next one is one that was, over here. That also, I believe they either came out of the red team or the green team. I can't quite remember. But I used green just because green goes well with purple. And this it's another representation of the sun, but with a mixed cultures. And so this is the flag for them, and I quite like it. And their name is Valley in Greek, which is Kilada, which is because they are in the middle of the whole Persian mountains thingy that Iran has. So they're kind of like a valley, you could say. Also, they're size when it comes to what's happening with them. The next one, which is the last one I'll be showing off today, is these people, which are named the Island People. Now, the reason they are named the Island People is because their capital being on Crete. Now, originally, the purple team, which is this country over here now in Italy, held all of these territories. At one point, they had this under their grasp. However, they left this behind and just moved to over here, leaving their their Greek territories and their and this territory behind. And this was two countries. Before this, the red team spanned all the way up here, and they attacked this nation as well as this bottom nation. So they controlled this entire peninsula. The red team did. Like, they controlled quite a bit. They controlled all of this over here. And so basically, the people on Crete, so the people that were over here in the southern part of Turkey, moved over here down to Crete, where their capital was. And even though another nation was reinstated over here, they did not join up with it, and it was a different color than them. However, whenever the red team conquered that nation in their great conquest after the ruthless dictator was, appointed, and after the war where the red team lost all its stuff, they gained half of Anatolia. So, this is what they currently look like. However, their capital is still on Crete. And this is why they changed their name from their original name, which was something about South Anatolia. I don't know. They changed it down to Island People, which is Nisiotis. So basically, the purple enzyme that I use for this is an X. It's the kind of X that that like Amsterdam uses, as well as Lemberg, if you get that reference. And so basically, I liked the idea of there being X's, and I know that it's not used. So I'm using X's as a symbol for the purple team because of their nomadic origins. And this is a flag in the Czech style, which I really like it. The Philippines also have it this way. It's a really cool flag. But yeah. So that's it for all of the nations of the Middle East. And the next one I do will probably be probably Africa. There's nothing I can do for North America because there's not any nations there yet. I don't believe. So yeah, I'll do either Africa or Europe. I'm not diving into Asia yet. But yeah, so either I'll do Africa or Europe next. Thank you for watching this, and if you haven't, which you probably have if you're watching this video, if you haven't seen the Adizzpro's videos, then please do. They're really good. I love that series, and yeah, enjoy your day. Have a nice day. Have a nice rest of your life. And I'll probably upload in the next 2 years. But yes, thank you for watching, and remember to stay politically relevant.